Welcome to lunchtime. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a fantastic time that we're going to spend right here around the lunch table. And it's always a lot of fun here at Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. And most importantly, we are building families and communities right here in the kitchen. And today, I'm so excited. I get to see Khadiyah all the time on her channel. I also get to see her when she's coming in with Denise and this and that. And it is just a pleasure. And I introduce to you Khadiyah. Now, correct me.
Preciado.
Preciada,
Yes, it's
and
very hard.
I want to make sure I got those letters in the right place.
Order.
Absolutely, and she has a channel that's called Her Healthy Home,
Hmm.
and we have been talking about living our best life for the past couple of months, and
Right.
we've been taking a look at our bodies, our mind, our health. And as we do that, we want to be able to talk about some of the things I know you're dealing from what I can see and what I see on your channel. You're taking it to another level.
Oh,
You know,
thank you.
you're making me, I'm going to have to rethink some things, along the way. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I have to say to the audience that it's never too late to have a great life.
Yeah.
And if things are not exactly where you'd like for them to be or what you'd like for them to be, certainly we want to be able to offer things to you that will help to uplift and inspire you to be your best self. And so Khadiyah is here with us today and is going to, first of all, I would just like for my own self. I see you. You're young and beautiful,
Oh,
and
thanks.
you have a wonderful family. And I'm trying to figure out how you doing all of this. She's got the business. She's got the channel. She's got her children. She has, oh my goodness, she has her husband. How do you do it all?
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all of your kind words and everything. They're so sweet and kind. Thank you. Hello, Emma Griffith. Thank you for joining us today. How I do it all. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I say I get supernatural help. Some days are better than others. Some days you have to play catch up. But we're getting better. I'm getting a routine is really important. And pretty much any free time I have, I'm always, I don't watch much TV or movies or whatnot. And so I try to have every single second, count. And so that's what I work on. Whenever I have, nap time early in the morning, that's when I get in all the other things, for myself. And then most of the day is just mostly dedicated to family and the things that we have to do, around the home.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's see, you've been married how long?
9 years. We just made 9 years on the 9th of this month. And so I
Hey,
just made 29 years as well.
oh, how
Yes,
wonderful.
our anniversary is my birthday. So they're
How
together.
about that?
Right.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, I tell you what, let's think back to early in your
Mhm.
for the sake of,
Yeah,
new
sure.
homemakers and those new going into relationships. How how did you really get started? What are some things that you might be able, as you look back over those 9 years,
Mhm.
what might you have done? What do you think you did that was successful in
Mhm.
getting started and putting your family together?
Yeah. I started, back then, even before I had the kids, just really, utilizing all the time that the free time that I had. I was still, at home wife. And so
Mhm.
most of the days, what I did to get myself encouraged is I would watch YouTube. Before I was doing YouTube, I would watch YouTube, and I would listen to motivational, lectures and whatnot. Listen to things about business. And I spent a lot of time reading. I really love reading. And that's when I started working on these reading these books. But I would get new books. I would read books in a day, 2 days. I made it a thing to, sit outside, read a book. And, when they say the way you create, and do great ideas is by reading, and being inspired and encouraged. And so I think that that's really motivational, whether it's watching YouTube channels that inspire, show cooking and, homemaking, like you do, or whether it's listen to motivation and encouragement podcasts. Now, there's so many options.
Mhm.
It
That's
wasn't as
so
much when I first started, but watching and seeing other people and how they're successful and learning from them is kind of how you can live on borrowed time, and that's what I did.
that's true. That is so true. Now I have to ask this just out of curiosity. I think back of when I was, new into the getting into the husband and all the to do, trying to get everything going, and I was working outside of the home,
Hmm.
and it just seemed like I was overwhelmed all the
Yeah.
time, trying to think through all the things I needed to do. Now, of course, I watched my mom, but she was for a very long time was a stay-at-home mom. So for
Mm.
that reason, what she was doing and was what I was doing was very different. And so, and that happens a lot of times of, of where, we're trying to look back on those that we've been with, and it is different. um, but as you do that, and you're thinking about young housewives like you who are thinking that maybe there's something else they can do, that they can add, and that
Yeah.
they're at home. And that sounds like that's probably where you were. You had a very creative mind, and I think through reading and learning, I think we learn from the time we're born until the time we leave this earth. And
Right.
you have certainly been learning a lot.
Yeah, and I want to share something else I've never shared, but you just really encouraged me by talking about your mom. I grew up. My father died actually when I was 7, and
Oh,
so my mom was actually a widow at 36 years old, taking care of two
oh
children, and
my
we lived.
goodness.
Yeah, we lived in New York, and the cost of living, is much more expensive. And so she
Mhm,
would go. We lived in Queens, New York, but she would go. She
mhm,
took the railroad and go every day to Manhattan to find work. And so we
mhm,
spent a lot of time actually at our grandparents' house.
mhm.
We would come home from school and go to our grandparents' house, and they lived right around the corner from us. And we actually had our backyards connected. We were so close to our grandparents. We
Oh!
saw them, every day. And I really love and appreciate that. And
Yeah.
that they really helped her. And so I
Mhm,
just saw my mom working hard, her hard work ethic. And
mhm,
so that really just, kind of drove me to want to, be a hard worker
mhm.
as well. And the things that she did, she always worked, in the office or secretary or teaching people. And so I kind of got that love from her. And so I just wanted to share that.
Oh, that's amazing. And what a great thing to put out there, because we got Mother's Day right around the corner.
Right.
And so being able to remember our moms is always special. Now, your mom's still with you?
Yes. And
Great, great.
she's watching my children today, helping me out. She's my biggest
Oh,
helper. And so yeah, I just really, just from a small age, I just saw my mom, and she's just always been so amazing. So
yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I have to say that as the grandmother, it's never a job to be able to watch grandchildren, because that's always a blessing.
yeah.
And so I know she enjoys every opportunity that she has to be able to do that, as
Yeah.
well as your grandparents when you were little.
Right. Yeah.
That was a blessing for them. And you make a lot of fun memories being able to do that. That
Yeah.
is fantastic. Well, I love that. Well, now,
Mhm.
business wise, how did you get started in your business?
I actually just started making products for myself because I was
Mhm.
always a person reading labels and stuff. Like my husband, he would be like, "Oh, could we just buy, just buy anyone?" But I would be looking at the ingredients, making sure, and I still do that, today. And so I found that I couldn't really find products that I really wanted to purchase. Like I would have to compromise, like, it has this ingredient or whatever. And so I just started making my own. And when I made one as a gift for someone, they actually
Mhm.
said, "Here's $5 for it." And they were like, "It's towards your new business." And I was like, "No, I just made it, as a gift or whatever." And they were like, "No," they insisted. And so I was like, "You know what?
Oh.
It could be a business." And so that's
Mhm.
how we started. And we've been doing it for what, 7 years or so. So it's a really long time. So yeah, and it's getting, it's a blessing. And I would have never, I wasn't even thinking about it. And
Yeah.
so when you have other people that see that you're good at something,
Mhm.
that can really let you know, oh, I am good at this. Maybe, it could be something. Maybe I should share it. And so,
Mhm. Well, it was funny last night. Stephanie Wilkeson
yeah.
and
Hmm.
I were talking, and we were talking about the fact that so often we have gifts, we have skills that have gone untapped
Yeah.
because either we're afraid to step out, or you just haven't heard that message that inspires you to get out there
Oh,
and to do
yeah.
it. And so, for someone who maybe has that creative edge, but they're afraid. They're afraid of failure. And was that something that really crossed your mind when you were trying
Mm.
to get started? Were you afraid that it might not work, or were you able to get past that easily? You know.
Yeah. Fortunately for me, like I talk about my mom, she's, we talk every day. We're really
Mhm.
close. And so she always supports me. And so, I know that, and she, will volunteer to help me and whatnot. So I just went with it. I just, I get adrenaline when I first start on something. And so then afterwards, it's like, oh yeah, it's real. But I just was really, excited, and she was excited with me. And we just, did it together. And, yeah, and I've learned though through doing it. I when I first started, like, we were getting into local stores, and they wanted me to talk to some students that were in a cosmetology school, and I was
Mhm.
like, "That's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted my products in stores. I didn't want to talk at all." I was always very bad at public speaking, very nervous, and
Mhm.
so it pushed me to do things. And so to even be able to be on YouTube now is something I would have never done if I hadn't started and, been forced to, do these things, because that's what business, takes. And so,
Mhm.
and you never know what you could be comfortable doing. You never know what you could be good at doing until you do it. And so you really should just go, head first into it and think about, the ifs later.
Oh, well, it's interesting because as I look at some of the young people today, putting their being able to speak in front of an audience is, as you know, it's not always easy.
Right. Yes.
And if you haven't done it a lot, or that hasn't been a part of, your job or those kind of things, then it makes it a little more difficult.
Right.
And some people are just bashful. And
Yeah.
I think that's why some people do podcast, because
Right.
versus some people doing YouTube.
Yes.
And because you're always wondering, and I have to tell you this, I had someone that I was talking to, and she was so leery about YouTube.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think she was afraid that of the comments she would get,
Oh, yeah.
how people would respond. Have you found that to be an issue as far as, YouTube is concerned?
Yeah. No, I definitely understand, because you're putting yourself out there and people can respond and you don't know how. Fortunately, I don't get very many negative comments, but when I do, I just make sure, I don't respond negative. And so
Mhm.
the way that you respond can kind of change it, because, maybe someone will think about, what they said from the way you responded.
Mhm, mhm.
I did get one about the day before yesterday. And so I thought about it for a little bit and I said, I'm not going to dwell on it. Just give us a quick answer. So I was just like, I said, that's an interesting comment. Thanks for watching, and so, then they might be confused once they get it back,
Right.
and so, yeah. And so I think that from doing YouTube, you kind of develop these character skills,
Mhm,
whereas I would have not been able to do that unless I was
mhm.
forced, in that
Yeah.
to deal with customers or to deal with people all the time and to be able to get a tougher skin. I'm still working
Mhm.
on it, but yeah. And so I think you just have to, do it and then worry about those things later. And you might
Mhm.
find that it happens, but it's okay. It's not, it's not as big as you might think.
Right. I think a lot of it too is that you have to have confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so let's get into what you're doing.
Yeah.
How did you get
Okay.
started in publishing?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
I have to, and I'm asking this for me as well as for everybody else because I have been holding on to a book that I have on my computer ready to go,
Oh,
and I just I can't I haven't gotten the nerve to put it out there.
yeah. So it started with, I shared some recipes, on my channel. And actually,
Mhm,
like my most popular video as of late is a video sharing all natural deodorant. And so that's something I've been
mhm,
using for, for years and years now. And so what I wanted to do is I said, I should share, the recipes
mhm,
because, um I won't be doing this forever, or my children are not going to do it, but I can have everyone have these recipes and it be staples in their family, so it could just be a
right.
way for it to continue. So I really just wanted to share those recipes. So that's how Recipes from the Earth was born, the book you were
Ah,
referring to. And after that, I just really love recipes. I love making things. I like
mhm,
making things from scratch. So that's kind of like what my books are. The second one is a perfume making book. And so I really just love making perfume with essential oils. And so you would never think that you could have like the smells that you can get from essential oils. People wouldn't believe it. And I didn't believe it. And so I wanted to share with people how you are able to do that. And it is really simple. It's so simple. It's like if everybody knew how simple it was, they'd be doing it. And so that's how the second one came. And the third one came. I didn't think I was gonna write a book. I just thought I was making recipes to give, as a freebie when people come onto my website. And then I
mhm.
just kept piling on recipes, piling on recipes. And so then I decided to actually make it into a book. And I decided to get some friends to share some of their favorite recipes. So it was moms coming together, herbalists coming together, and showing how you can make, simple recipes at
Mhm.
home. And so, yeah, um, I never thought I would have been having any book. And then they just happened,
They happen. They happen.
spontaneously. Yeah.
That is amazing, amazing. I mean, three books out there, and
Yeah.
I mean, that is
Thank you.
something that most people are unable to accomplish,
Oh, well,
and
thank
you have been
you.
able to do it so quickly. But
Yeah.
part of that's because you have a lot to share.
Oh,
And yesterday, I caught a picture. I think it was yesterday or Saturday. The picture of your garden.
oh, thank you.
That
Yeah.
was really beautiful, absolutely
Thank you.
beautiful. And I can remember a time, not at this house, but when I had enough sun that I could plant a garden and really enjoy it. And now everything has to be pots.
Pops.
It
Yeah.
makes it more difficult to try to get as much um, I'll say fruits and vegetables and all those kind of things that I'd really like to be able to do during the summer to be
Hmm.
able to put those out and to have those ready to go for the family. So what's your suggestion? How do those of us who are say limited, how do
Right.
we get our feet dirty and our hands dirty
Yeah.
out there, trying to develop a plot, so to speak, where
Yeah,
we can
you know, a
truly.
lot of my garden actually is in pots or started in pots. So, like what I shared, my grapes are all in pots, and so you can just get, the longer, the longer pots and grow in there. So they have some space to grow down. Actually, have some trees that are in pots as well. Yeah, so
What?
yeah, you can, and I there's a channel. I'm trying to think of her name. I can't think of her name right now. I just thinking of her nickname. But she has a balcony garden, and she actually has a tree on her balcony as well. So yeah, a lot of things can be grown in pots, and
Okay.
some plants do like also some part shade or can tolerate some part shade as well.
Hmm.
So I think one of the fun things is trying to once you're like forced to be creative. That's when
Hmm.
like the best things happen. And so, with using pots, you can have all types of wonderful pots. We found at a garage sale this it was like a cooler that they made. It was wooden and everything. And I was
Hmm.
like, that would be a nice even planter. So now we use it as a planter because we were not using it. And we got it for $15 or something, but it's handmade, it's wooden, and you can have plants and have
Oh.
it draped. So there's all kind of fun things. And that's kind of like what we do. We try to do it, as cheaply as possible, and
Hmm.
just still make things look nice. And so, yeah,
Hmm.
you can do a lot in pots. Like I said, I have trees in pots. My raspberries also started in pots. Blackberries can be grown in pots. Yeah, because you can get and they sell them for about $6. It might have went up now, but
Hmm.
at
Hmm.
Home Depot you can get really tall pots and
Hmm.
beautiful, wonderful for herbs. You can have a real nice cut flower garden and
Hmm.
herbs in pots. So a lot
Oh.
of things can grow really well in pots.
Hmm.
Tomatoes grow well in pots, and anything that needs like lots of drainage does really well usually.
But now with tomatoes, you need lots of sun as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that has been the downfall of that part of my
yeah.
garden. And we love, 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 love
Tomatoes,
tomatoes.
yeah.
But fortunately, we have a farm that's not ours, but not too far away that we
That's
can go
fine. Yeah.
and
Also,
buy
some people do indoor gardening now with grow lights, and so a lot of
tomatoes.
people have been able to grow hydroponic grown tomatoes and stuff as well. So it's
Ah,
yeah, and for the people who say, "Oh, I don't want to deal with bugs or too much
mhm.
work," you can have little salad greens and herbs and maybe some tomatoes inside.
Ah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to look into that because I think
yeah,
that'd be fun. I know I went over to my daughter's house and she's kind of gotten the bug on growing all of the vegetables that she can. So because of COVID, they and everyone having to be home last year
hmm,
before last actually,
right,
they
yeah,
started their garden indoors
yeah,
and they had all these little cups where they had planted all of their seeds and then put it out on the deck once the weather broke and their garden was absolutely beautiful
yeah,
and I went, oh wow, how amazing, this is great. But she's lucky enough to have a lot of sun, so
yeah.
that makes
Sun,
it
yeah, your sun is usually the best friend for a lot of things.
great. Hmm.
But there's some herbs and that will tolerate some shade.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe also indoor, like how people have sunrooms, but you can even like if you
Hmm.
have an office or something and the
Hmm.
window gets lots of sun, you can have a plant there. I do like to try to put some more plants inside,
Hmm.
like aloes. They love, they like the sun, but they also do really well indoors, and all
Okay.
of those can be used too because some people do use aloe, for
Okay.
hair and
Yeah.
skin, and yeah.
Now, as far as basil and regular cooking herbs, most of those are like sun or more sun.
Yeah. They say, rosemary might be able to take a little bit of shade. I think thyme is also another one. There's some areas in my garden that don't get too much sun and they seem to do okay. But I think
Mhm.
once they're established, they'll
Uh-huh.
do pretty fine. It's just, getting them started. So maybe if you start them indoors and you get them pretty nice and healthy, they
Mhm.
might be, okay for having, less sun.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I'm looking at Denise is saying that she started an herb garden for her grandniece last year. And she said she told her yesterday that two of the herbs were growing back. And she was so
Oh,
excited.
yeah.
She's
That's the
5.
wonderful thing. Perennial herbs, the ones that do come back every year, those are just
Hmm.
so easy, and I really love it. Like oregano probably would be able to take some shade as well. Like even mints, they do like it kind of like cool and moist, so mints
Hmm.
should be fine too.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah.
Mint you really have to contain.
Oh, yes, 'cause it can get invasive, yeah. But, actually, like thyme, um,
Hmm.
that's also in the mint family, and so they do kinda grow out, but not as quickly, but they do.
Okay.
So, like
Okay.
the thyme, oregano, yeah, those are
Yeah.
also in the
Sage can get
family.
wild too.
Yeah,
And
and those do come back. All of those that
yes,
we talked
yes,
about do come
they
back.
will come back.
Yeah, so
And
for those who don't have the time or the energy, those do come back. And like the raspberries and the trees I was talking about, those all come back too. So I
huh,
didn't do any work for those nice pictures. Most of all those plants were ones that just come back. And so once you
what?
set it and forget it, yeah. And that's how most of my garden is now. Things that I don't have to, work on. And it works really
Oh.
well that way.
Oh, that's good.
Hmm.
Well, I'm feeling book number 4. It's going to be dealing with growing your herbal garden.
Yeah.
And that would be so much fun, so
Yeah.
much fun. And I think that would be one that would be very beneficial. And you've got plenty to share. Now,
Yeah.
as you're growing your herbs and using them for, of course, healthy reasons, we use it in cooking,
Yeah.
but you're also using it as a form of medicine as well.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
tell me about that.
So yeah, we could just talk about some of the herbs that we were talking about. A lot of the
Mhm.
herbs that people, already grow, and
Mhm.
they're, what do they call it? The kitchen garden. A lot of times
Uh-huh.
it's called. Yeah. So from oregano, I make oil of oregano, and so like
Mhm.
that's really it's really antifungal. And so if you are having like different issues, like especially with stomach problems as well, it can really help. So when the age of all these recalls about all these different salmonella and things like that,
Mhm.
things like cilantro are also, or
Mhm.
cilantro, the seed, coriander, is really powerful as well. And
Mhm.
so you can make them into, you can put them into honey. You can infuse them into honey, and that's a really good way to take them, because it just makes the honey taste better. And also, you put anything with honey, it's going to taste really good. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I have a thyme onion honey that I make, and that is just really wonderful for, like, the antiviral, just for every day. If you're going, outdoors, or you're around, like you work around people like my
Mhm.
husband does, it
Mhm.
really is good just to build up, your immune system. Or if you feel
Mhm.
that you're gonna get sick soon, it's perfect. There's so many perfect remedies that you can have. Even cloves, and a lot of people, have cloves, and they may have it, in the holiday ham or whatever. But
Mhm.
clove is really wonderful for the teeth. And so if you have like tooth pain or something, you can crush up some clove or infuse it into oil as well. And so there's so
Ah.
many uses for the plants that we already have. Um,
Ah.
I use oil of oregano for coughs. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
I hadn't thought about that.
yeah. I'm trying to think of some other herbs. Sage is a really good as well for like the throat. Um,
Oh,
so
I got my
yeah.
notebook going here.
Yeah, because I mean, all of the herbs that we already eat have so many wonderful benefits. A
Mhm.
lot of them, like the mints, but pretty much all of the herbs that really have a strong smell are really good for the stomach as well. So if you have like
Mhm.
bloating or anything, that's why we take it, to help us with digestion. So they can
Mhm.
maybe help with like parasites or different bacteria, like cilantro,
Mhm.
or some of them can just make our stomach feel a little bit better if we feel like queasy, or especially like ginger, known for using for nausea, for morning sickness, motion
Mhm.
sickness, even hangovers. It's
Yeah,
there. You use what you have in your kitchen. There are
that's
so many
right.
wonderful uses.
Wow.
Cloves
Cloves
are numbing.
as a
Yeah,
numbing
cloves.
agent.
Yeah, cloves also, like cayenne pepper, mustard. Some of those hot,
Mhm.
spicy herbs I use a lot of time for pain as well. Yeah.
Mhm. I know I was reading somewhere and they were saying that the spicier
Mm-hmm.
herbs are really, really good in the body because of the fact that it warms up the, I guess, the
Yes,
internal
yes,
functions and the stomach gets everything
right.
going.
Yes,
Um,
that's exactly what it does. Yeah. It stimulates circulation, gets things moving. If things
mhm,
are like slow behind, it's gonna help with digestion, like you said. Yeah, that's
mhm.
exactly what it does. Yeah.
Cool.
Why?
We got
Oh, yeah. Someone said a mouth rinse with clove in it. Feels like I've been to the dentist. Yeah, and also peppermint. Peppermint is really good because you have that
okay.
tingly feeling. Really good for
Mhm.
the mouth and for the throat when it goes down too.
I like that in my shampoo.
Oh
It
yeah,
makes your
with the
scalp
tingling.
just
Yeah.
tingle. It feels so good.
Yes.
Um, Denise is saying, "Oh, talk about your class." I did have that down. She said that she took your class and it gave her so much information. You'll
Yeah.
have to share that information. Give those things to me after we finish, so
Hmm.
we can put I can put them down in the
Oh,
description
okay.
box. So
Yeah.
other people can get out there and take those classes as well. But as we learn about herbs, I think back and back in the day, even before I probably even came along, people were using
Yes.
herbs.
Yes.
So this is
And
not
they
new.
knew.
You
Right.
know,
It's not right. Nothing new
yeah.
under the sun. But it's new to the younger generation because we kind of fallen out of it. Because now we have,
Mhm.
such technologic, advancements. And
Mhm.
so we think, oh, I could just and I just talked about this 2 days ago or so. People say, why would I want to make that when I can go buy it for $2, $3? But you don't know if you're always going to have $2, $3. And
That's
sometimes
true.
you may not be able to have if you could deal with it right now versus
Mhm.
going in the car, going to the store, coming back,
Mhm.
so why not? So it's good to know these things. And because we have so many things around us that can be really wonderful as well. And so that's why I also stress knowing the herbs that already grow in your backyard. So,
Mhm.
I don't know if you spray or anything, but if not, you may have some herbs that really do well in the
Mhm.
area as well. So I can think of like chickweed is a really good one. But
Mhm.
there's things that can help you with allergies right outside in your backyard. There's things that can help you, like if you get bruises and cuts, like a plant
Mhm.
called plantain that's really used. So it's wonderful that all these things are at our fingertips, and you don't have to do a lot of work for them either.
Mhm. Now, where do you find some of these herbs? Some of those that, like, of course, chickweed, I think I can find. But,
Hmm.
there are certain herbs that, do you buy them online? Do you have a place that you
Oh,
go?
yes. Okay. So
Mhm,
yeah, so the ones that don't really grow in your backyard, yeah, you can buy
mhm.
some online. There's different like farms, or I really like a place called Foster Farm Botanicals because
What's
they
the name of
grow
that? Foster?
Foster Farm
Mhm.
Botanicals, and they grow all of their own herbs on their own farm. And so
Ah,
yeah, and so especially if you live nearby, it's really good to find from a local farm. But you can also go on Amazon. They have places like Star West Botanicals that grow everything. How do you dry your mint? I like to dry my mint in a dehydrator.
mhm,
Mint dries, usually very quickly. I also like to just do it by air drying. So I'll take a
mhm,
little bit of kitchen twine. I'll whenever I harvest and I know that I'm going to air dry it, I leave
mhm,
stem on there so I can have something to wrap it around, and I just
mhm.
hang dry it. So just make sure you don't forget that you have it laying around. But yeah, like in a couple of days, you just keep checking it till it's
Mhm,
real nice and crispy. It does air dry really well as well. But
mhm,
if I'm in
mhm.
a hurry and I want it done, within the day, I will dehydrate it as well.
Now, do you dehydrate in the house or do you dehydrate, say, on your porch
That's a
for
good question.
fear that you'll end up with a
They
break?
actually have this dehydrator that is mesh, and it's meant to go outside, and it hangs outside. And so it's huge, and it has like five different compartments, and I bought it for like $25, and you can
What?
have like five different types of herbs drying in there. It's really amazing, and it's huge, but it pops out, but you can kind of make it really small, and it has like a little bag it can be in when you're not using it. So you can
Oh,
actually
that's
dry
neat.
outside. And if it's not windy, depending on what it is, if it's like flowers or something, you can have it
Mhm.
out, in like on a, like if you have like a little covered porch or something, you can have
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
there as well to dry outside. But I really like having it. That one has a zipper and everything, and so I
Oh,
really like
that's
that part of it out
nice.
there. If you
Did
have
you
like
find that
lots of bugs
on
and stuff.
Amazon? Was that an
Yes, I found that
Amazon?
on Amazon.
Okay.
I
Okay. Do
purchased.
you have that on your
Oh,
website?
um, no, I actually have a video on it. I did a
Okay.
review a while back. But
Okay.
no, I don't. I should have a just, things that I recommend. So yeah, that's
Mhm.
a good idea.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
she also
Yeah.
said she purchased from a local nursery. That's a really good thing if you can grow, because even sometimes you go to Walmart and you can buy mint or you can buy the little
Mhm.
plant of mint. And so it's like the
Mhm.
same amount of money. You might as well go ahead and buy that. And
Yeah.
even some things that if you do grow it and it does have enough stem, you can put it in water and get some roots on it too. So
That's true.
yeah, you can
That's
get your
true.
culinary herbs that way.
Oh, Kim is asking, she says she purchases her herbs from a local nursery.
Right.
And
Yeah. And that's a good
those are
way to get a lot of different plants. And they
mhm,
may have some things like, echinacea. I saw they do
mm,
always carry mint, sage,
mhm,
cilantro, parsley. So you can really get a good start. And I've grown some things from getting from a local nursery too. Some
mhm,
things that I have trouble maybe from seed, I'll go
mhm,
ahead and purchase if I really want
mhm.
a plant.
Yeah, we're working on some things from seed, and right now they look very puny. I'm not sure that they're going to make it, but they've been watered. We tried putting them into a clear plastic bag, trying to set up
Mhm.
like a terrarium, thinking that might help a little bit, but it hasn't brought them to a healthier to give them a healthier look. So I'm working on that. We'll see
Yeah.
what to do.
I like planting things straight in the dirt. It's just so
Mhm.
easy. And then they also have these little they're like little blocks, peak
Uh-huh.
blocks,
Mhm.
and you can do that. You put some water and they puff up, and then you can plant like
Mhm.
one or two seeds. Those work really well if you
Okay.
have a hard time just placing it in the dirt as well.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's something to think
Hmm.
about. Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Now, let me ask you this. Do you homeschool?
Yes, I do.
Oh, so you homeschool, you got the business going. Girl, where
You're
do you
so
find the energy?
uh yeah, the naps, I've started letting myself nap with them. And then I'll just do things later on in the day. The
Mhm.
kids can help once they get a certain age, so I get help if I'm in the garden. um
Mhm.
or even with little chores, they love taking clothes like out of the dryer or something like that.
Aw.
And maybe while they're eating is when I'll do
Mhm.
work on the dishes, putting things away, things like that. So I just I try to focus most of the time just doing things with the kids, and then
Mhm.
they get lots of time to play as well. And so when they're
Mhm.
playing, I can get I can do 5 minutes on the computer or something
Mhm.
like that. So yeah, and then waking up, I always try to wake up early before the kids.
Okay.
I think it's really
Okay.
important to get
Now,
things
are
done
you're
before they.
using a special program with them?
No, and actually they're I buy, there's a local teaching supply, and so I buy
Mhm.
a whole bunch of things from there. You can also
Mhm.
buy things like even textbooks or things like that on Amazon. And so
Mhm.
yeah, but right now it's just more like I just basically the kids kind of let me know what they're up to too. So my daughter, she's doing writing and even reading. And so I go and buy things that they really like because they're
Mhm.
still really young. My son is just about to turn 3 and my daughter's
Okay.
5.
Okay.
So yeah.
Mhm.
But later on we'll definitely, have more of a structure and everything. But for
Mhm.
right now,
Mhm.
we don't. So I don't have one I could recommend, unfortunately. But I do
Yeah.
buy I'm the person who buys things before I need it years in advance. So if I see a
Mhm.
really good deal, I went to a local like antique place, and there's
Mhm.
like one that has so much homeschooling stuff. And so like I have some that I did buy. Yeah, I
Okay.
got them a really good deal. And so yeah, I do plan on trying to use some, but I like to mix and match
Mhm.
depending on what the
Mhm.
kids need.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And since you got little ones, that does help a little bit because you
Yeah.
can put in what exactly what they need.
Yeah.
Kim's asking, how do you deal with animals?
Oh, yeah.
She says she's dealing with squirrels, rabbits, and groundhogs in her yard. The animals are bold. She said they even come up to the deck.
Oh,
She said,
wow.
what do you do?
You know, and it's so funny. My mom, she has a problem with squirrels, and she said like they hissed at her one time or whatever. But the ones at my yard, I don't have a issue with. The only issue I have is that they drop nuts. But
Hmm.
we just have a lot of trees here, so I don't have a problem with squirrels.
Hmm.
Rabbits, actually, there's a rabbit who visits us every day, but there's so many weeds that I have that he eats, so he doesn't eat my food.
Oh,
Uh, and groundhog. So we actually do have like voles and moles. And so I'll
yeah.
tell you what you can do for each of these. So for rabbits, they say take your hair from a hairbrush, or even if
Hmm.
you have animals like dogs or cats, their
Hmm.
hair, you can put it out in the garden. And so they'll smell it and they'll think, it's like they because they're the bottom of the food chain. And so they think,
Hmm.
oh, this animal can it scares them off just from smelling the scent of the other
Okay.
animal. It's like marking the
Uh-huh.
territory. So you can do that with rabbits. For groundhogs, you can put like some of the spices like chili pepper. I know it's not very nice, but you put it, on the ground or in the hole.
Hmm.
And so, when they sniff it or whatever, it can deter them. And
Hmm.
with squirrels, I would say probably have some ground covers. So you can buy like little loops or hoops and cover them
Oh, okay.
with some kind of cloth or fabric. So
Hmm.
that's what I do. The only time I have a problem with squirrels is when I have nothing planted and they can just go in there and they're looking for something. And
Oh.
so I find that when I have a cover over it, and you can buy, I've bought, for like $20, I'll buy lots of feet. And you
Mhm.
can just cover, and I just use little bricks just to keep it in place. They
Mhm.
have ones that you can just set up and they will retract too for
Mhm.
about the same amount. So yeah, I would just mostly cover the food. There are
Mhm.
also covers you can put on your fruit. So that's something that I do too for berries and whatnot. They have some that are drawstring bags that have
Oh.
fabric and you can
Mhm.
cover. You can also spray your vegetables. Like you can take some jalapenos and some garlic and some water, make a really strong brew and spray your plants. And, the smell will deter them. And if they taste it, the taste will deter them too.
Huh. Can you use that jalapeno garlic on your blooming flowers as well?
Yeah,
Because
I would
we
think
have
so.
deer,
Yeah.
and deer our
Oh,
deer come up and they will
yeah, I
eat
know they,
anything.
yeah. Yeah, I know. Do you have deer fencing too?
Well, no.
Okay, sometimes people say that they can jump over deer fencing, but that's another
Mhm.
thing too. And but also, yeah, you can spray your plants with that, and that'll deter. Deers are like my favorite animal.
I know. I
But I
think a
know
deer
they
that
wouldn't be if they
can't
were
hurt
eating all
them.
my vegetables. I know they wouldn't be.
But my hydrangeas, everything,
Oh
they
yeah,
eat everything,
oh,
and they've eaten the hydrangeas down to little nubs,
yeah.
and
No, I understand. Yeah.
they come at night, and there they are, and they trigger the lights in the yard. That doesn't bother them either. They've gotten used to it,
Mm,
so
yeah.
they're not bothered. Kim
Sometimes
said,
they say, you ever seen those owls? Their heads will spin. They say sometimes
"Yeah,
that can work,
that
but you got to keep
didn't
moving
work.
it and stuff. It doesn't work.
It didn't work."
No problem, Kim. I hope it helps you. I know how frustrating it is when things are eating your garden. My biggest problem is things like worms, caterpillars or whatnot eating my food. That's the
Oh.
problem I have, the little bugs. I don't have the big ones as much as a problem.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had something got on. We were finally able to get these patio tomatoes, and we had tons of them. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, some little creature decided that he was going to happen along, and he started
Oh.
eating the tomatoes faster than we could pick them.
Oh, eating the tomatoes.
He was eating the greens. He was eating the tomato. He ate
Oh.
everything, and
Ooh.
so and it was on the deck, so it wasn't like it was out in the yard. I don't
Mm.
know, but
It
he did
probably
it.
was some caterpillars because it comes from like the butterflies or moths. They lay their
Mhm.
babies, and so they just hatch and they just start eating. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and they eat the greens, and they'll get. if you have a hornworm, those are the big ones, and they can eat like a plant in the day, the whole plant. And so,
Oh,
but they also will sometimes bite the tomatoes too. But
yeah,
mostly they want the leaves.
yeah.
Hmm.
Now, I tried ivory soap,
Hmm.
fixing up a
They say,
solution
yeah, I've heard that too.
that of ivory soap,
And how does
and
that work?
kind of sprayed it. You spray it on it and on the flour, and that helped a little bit. But once that dries, they're
Yeah.
back at it.
You know what I use is it's called BT. It's a certain type of bacteria. It's BT, and
Hmm.
it's a bacteria, and it only hurts the caterpillars and the worms, and it does
Ah,
multiple. So, like hornworms, it'll have caterpillars, also army worms, which I have all three of those come in my garden.
hmm.
But yeah, so what it does is that when they eat it, it actually is just like it messes up their stomach, and it kind of like eats them, and so you'll see dead caterpillars, which is not a good thing,
Okay.
but it's
Hmm.
better than your plants being eaten. And
Yeah.
it does work. But if it rains, of course, then you would
Hmm.
have to respray it. So that's why some of those things can, they become tedious. But
Hmm.
so that's why I really like to have cover. I find if
Okay.
you cover your plants, that's what I do for a lot of plants. I'll cover them. Then when they get established, then I can, spray every now and then.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, that can help if you have a hard time trying to grow things because things are eating them.
Yeah, because you
Mm,
want the good worms, you want the earthworms, but
right.
the caterpillars are rough.
Right. So the BT is a really good solution, and it's not toxic to us, or to
Okay,
anything, any other thing other than worms. There's
and that was
also some
BT.
BT, B as in boy and T.
Okay,
There's
okay.
also neem oil, and I
Mm.
don't like neem oil as much because it comes from a tree actually. It's native to Africa,
Okay,
and but if you use neem, you can't eat your vegetables right away. You have to wait like 2 days, and so that's why I prefer BT. So you don't have to worry
okay.
about, oh, did I spray neem? I can't remember. And so
Mhm,
hey,
mhm.
Cal. So yeah, that's a good second option. You can buy BT online. That's what I did. I bought it
Mhm.
from eBay, and it's better. It's cheaper if you buy a concentrate and just put a little bit of it in water. You put like a
Okay,
couple potfuls in water, and so
okay.
yeah.
I hope everybody has their piece of paper that you're writing down all your notes, because that's what I'm doing. I'm talking and writing. So when I kind of bleep out, uh-oh, she's writing. That is good to know. That's good
Yeah,
to
I'm
know.
glad that we have so many options, to
Mhm,
be able to protect our plants. I
mhm,
also I put around all the edges of my garden. So if you ever see my garden, you'll see that I have onions or garlic around the edge. And so
mhm.
that I think it helps, just the smell of it deters some bugs. And so just
Huh.
little things, I feel like
Okay.
all the little things together.
And that's interesting that you said that, because I was watching, a lady on YouTube the other day, Robbie, and I can't think of her husband's name, but they have a channel and they do a lot of container gardening as well. And I noticed that in her containers that she had her blooming flowers, she also had onions. She had planted like little spring
Hmm.
onions around.
Yeah,
And she didn't really say why she did that. I just thought she was trying to fill in. But
right.
now I know she's really doing that dual purpose.
Yeah, it could be to fill in. It's a really good plant because they take up very little room. Or it could
Mhm.
be, it could be both. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. Guys, you have any more questions? Because we have a wealth of knowledge
Oh,
right
thank you.
here. Khadiyah knows everything there is to know.
Oh,
And this is our opportunity to be able
so
to.
sweet.
I'm thinking we need to pick her brain, find out what's going on and what we can do.
Yeah.
Um, Cal said that she has some wild onions growing.
Yeah, because actually, yeah, they do grow wild, and there's walking onions they're called because they just kind of spread around and they're perennial, and so they just move. And so I seen some of those that I still had
Mhm,
that survive the winter and they come back, and so that's a
mhm.
really good option too. If we want to talk about maybe some plants that are really good for beginners,
Oh, that
um,
sounds
yeah. Oh,
You
oh,
want to
I
give
think
us
we
some
broke up there.
suggestions?
Oh yeah, sure. I think onions and garlic because they don't have many pests,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're really easy. You don't have to do much to them at all. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people do grow tomatoes, and I think that they're pretty easy, except the bugs really like tomatoes. But I think
Mm-hmm.
peppers are even easier, and they don't have as
Okay.
many pests, and they're pretty hardy too.
Okay.
And let's see, other beginner plants. I think for herbs, I think like
Mm-hmm.
cilantro, dill, because a lot of times people have hard time growing some of the small seeds. So some of those
Mm-hmm.
plants have bigger seeds, like sage also has
Okay.
bigger seeds, and they have
Mm-hmm.
really good germination rates. So I like
Mm-hmm.
those. And also, if you're a first time gardener, it's good if you have a friend who has like a mint or some of those thyme or oregano because those
Mm-hmm.
will, you can take transplants and plant those out. Let's take little
Okay.
cuttings, they're called. And so those
Mm-hmm.
are really good too if you ever do come across like a plant that someone else has or whatnot. Or when you
Mm-hmm.
buy them from the nursery, you can maybe make them into multiple plants.
Mm.
I think, let's see, I really like beans and
Okay.
peas. Especially there's bush beans and then there's the longer beans, which are pole beans.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Mm-hmm.
bush beans are really good because they have really good germination rate. They have really big seeds. It doesn't really, they're not finicky about how you plant them. They actually leave nutrients in the soil when they die. They leave
Oh,
nitrogen in the
that's
soil.
nice. Yeah.
And they're really hardy. They have a lot of different pests that will eat them, but they survive. They're really strong plants, and they don't
Okay.
need very much of anything. I don't do anything to them. My rule is I never feed them anything. I don't you don't fertilize them or anything because they're fertilizer to the
Okay.
soil. And so yeah, and peas. I think peas are also very
Mhm.
easy as well for the same reasons.
Denise is saying that she's going to have to try the bush
And
beans
corn,
this
yeah.
year
I
and
think
corn.
corn, yeah,
Ah,
I think corn is pretty easy, but you have to make sure they get enough wind, like enough
sure.
circulation of wind so they can have the
Mhm.
pollination. So you have the whole kernel come out with
Ah.
the corn. Because if not, like if you put them too close together, then you might not you might have semi-pollinated
Mhm.
I'm sorry, pollinated corn. Tomatoes, onions, collard greens, green beans, and herbs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the salad greens like lettuces,
Mhm.
and especially like kale, is very hardy
Mhm.
and pretty good to grow. But they do have a lot of pests, so that's why I didn't really
Mhm.
name them. But they are pretty easy.
Yeah. Garlic, little garlic bulbs.
Yes,
When you're buying your
right.
garlic bulbs, can't we just
Those
kind of
are
pop
all seeds.
those,
Yeah, they're basically
yeah,
all
right into the
seeds.
ground? Oh,
Right,
that's
and it
great.
makes you a new clove.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, that's amazing.
It is.
I I was telling Denise not too long ago, I was telling her that I had taken my green onions, my little spring onions,
Right,
and placed them in water so that they could develop their
right.
roots. And actually, they stayed wonderful. They lasted for a very long time. And I just pop one out every now and then whenever we needed spring onions and whatever, and go with it. But
Hmm.
uh, that was an easy way to both be able to keep them and they
Right.
stayed well as a couple of them I actually put out in pots,
You
so
can
that
actually
was
do
nice.
that with onions, like the
Mhm.
scrap pieces of onions. You can put that in the soil and it'll regrow. Because if you've ever had any onions that went, bad or,
Mhm.
that started getting a little bit closer and you've ever
Mhm.
seen the green onion sprouts come out of it,
Yes.
it can actually regrow more. And also with celery, you can do that as well. Celery is
Oh.
because celery takes like 4 months, to grow up to 4 months. It's a very
Okay.
a long period, but you can
Mhm.
regrow celery from scraps and you can just, harvest the individual stalks as well. So it's
Oh,
a really
now
good way.
we've done broccoli, even broccoli a couple of
Yeah, you
times.
can grow back some. You can get some broccoli greens, I believe,
Mhm.
from doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've grown broccoli and I really like it. A lot of bugs like it. Oops, I have to
Yes, they do.
get my charger.
Uh-oh.
If you can give me 1 second.
Okay.
Charger.
Well, guys, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. I am looking. I've had to flip pages, and go beyond to get all these notes down. But let me remind you that you're going to want to go to both Khadijah's website as well as she's on Amazon.
Yes.
Got her books on Amazon, and take a look. And if you like them, certainly purchase those as well. Um, all right, let's see. Oh, that's good. Sin says she's really enjoying our talk.
Yes.
Um, Celery. Now, tell me, celery seeds. Now, of
Mm-hmm.
course, we can buy celery seeds,
Great.
but how do we get celery seeds? Where do they come from? Really. Do they
So,
pollinate in the fall? I mean, do they drop seeds in the fall?
So yeah, once you grow the plant,
Mhm,
basically it will eventually have flowers and then they'll turn into
mhm.
seeds. And that's just, the way that we can regrow it other than the scraps. So even, like all the spinach, all of those, they actually do produce flowers, so that they can, it's basically their way of reproduction through the seeds.
Okay.
So if they
Okay.
were in the wild, the seeds would fall down and make more
Mhm,
plants. So yeah, so if you like, sometimes people will try to grow like beans from some beans that they have. But it's
mhm.
best if you get like fresh seeds. But you could, of course, use some of the seeds. Some of them might be okay
Mhm.
too.
Okay, okay. I know we sprouted beans a couple of times in school, where we had little starts and actually
Yeah,
planted them and brought them home and planted them. So
yeah.
that was fun, and it was so easy to do,
Right.
and the
And things
kids
like
loved it.
watermelon or, when we
Yes.
eat watermelon, we spit out the seeds, all of those
Yeah.
could be plants. I remember there was a person that would eat watermelon, was spitting them on their lawn, and the next thing you know, they had all these watermelons growing. So you
You're
don't even think about it.
kidding.
Yeah.
Oh.
And even, the squashes, we're
Mhm,
trained to cut the squash and use a spoon or something and get all
mhm.
of those seeds out. But I usually roast them because they're so good roasted. But you
Yeah,
can
they
also
are.
plant them. But the only
Mhm,
thing is when you buy stuff from the store, sometimes it may
mhm.
be hybrid, so they might not always have like a stable seed.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's worth a try because it's something that you would have just thrown away possibly.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah.
We've done that with, cherry tomatoes and
Yeah.
restarted new cherry tomatoes, just cut it in
Yeah.
half and
Oh,
squeeze
yeah.
those seeds out,
Right.
and, the little plants came right up.
Yeah. So it's just so amazing, right?
Yeah,
But they just want to, the seeds, they just want to grow. They just, as
they
soon as
wanna
they
grow.
get into soil, they know what to do.
Yeah, it was so much fun, so much fun. Well,
Yeah.
I have probably talked your ear off and certainly talked you to death. But now, I'm saying now, so I'm putting it out there now. I want you to come back later
Oh,
in the summer or in the fall when we're kind of ready to shut our gardens down and start talking about what to do from there.
oh, okay. I
And it
love it.
may be that we can do something where we can actually start to take a look, um, at how to preserve what we've collected, whether
Yeah.
it
I
be
think that that's really
herbs,
good.
you can show you drying your herbs, whatever it is. But let's see, I'm looking at, we've got a couple. Denise said she
Oh,
just
well, thank
ordered.
you, Denise.
Oh, good. She said she'd be there tomorrow. Wonderful. Ronnie said something ate all
Oh,
of her squash seeds. She said she
yeah,
thinks it's
probably
squirrels.
squirrels. Yeah, the squirrels. That's when you have like a lot of people that grow sunflower seeds. Yeah,
Mhm.
the birds and squirrels really love all of those seeds, and so yeah,
Mm,
that's when I notice when I plant something, a squirrel
mhm.
might be looking to get the seed. So yeah, and so that's why I think it's really good if you can just to cover whenever you plant the seeds,
Mhm.
just cover them, and so let them sprout and get a little strong before they have to start dealing with things trying to kill them, so
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah. Well, of course, they're there to feed us and feed them too. And Ronnie's laughing.
Right.
She said, but I think everyone has certainly enjoyed your conversation and being able to
Mhm. Yeah.
share.
And I think that's
And
a really good idea because people are always interested in how do I dry, XYZ or how do
mhm,
I do, and so yeah, I think it's good to show just how, easy it is or simple and that
mhm.
there's multiple ways to do it too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will talk. and we will get together, and maybe we'll make that a Saturday morning where we'll all get together, and that way you don't
Okay.
have to worry about the kids. Kids can be around, it doesn't matter. And I'll bring what I have, and you bring what you have, and we'll get together and we'll talk about what we can do, and maybe even do a little cooking in the kitchen. You'll have some
Okay,
things
that
to help
sounds
you in the
really fun.
kitchen. That'll be a lot of fun, a lot of
Yeah.
fun. And being able to when do you usually bring your herbs in? Maybe about September?
You talking about when I start harvesting?
Start. Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm harvesting. It just depends on like how I want to use it. So right now I'm harvesting a lot of mint right now, because it's everything is just starting again. So I'm getting lots
Mm-hmm.
of all my different herbs. So I've been making hydrosols lately, and so
Mm.
that basically is just the herbs are steamed, and then the steam is cooled, and it makes a
Mhm.
pure liquid, and so it has the scent of the
Oh.
liquid, and it's really wonderful. And so I actually was
Mhm.
using it to clean my floors yesterday, and it smelled really good.
Oh,
Yeah. And so
wow.
I've been using more of that. So I just yeah, I've been harvesting, every day. You can, harvest depending on what it is. You can be harvesting, all year, almost all year, until about winter. Yeah. And then in winter you can be harvesting roots of different plants.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
you can harvest all year round. Yeah.
Oh, that's wow. That's wow. Now, on your website, we can find information about your classes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's something that I think all of us, including me, I need to jump in and take time to really get into the class.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, wait, wait. Denise said, wait. She said, tell us how to make the mint floor cleaner. Okay.
So all I did was, it probably was about maybe I would say maybe 25% I just used of the hydrosol. So you can actually
Mhm.
purchase hydrosols. But I started making my own because I was going through them. And so now I can use them for floor cleaners because I make my own. But before
Mhm.
I wouldn't have done it because it's more expensive. And I just use some castile soap as well. And so you can have
Okay.
a castile soap with a fragrance or whatever. So I had lavender. So I had lavender
Mhm.
mint, those two. And then the rest was pretty much water. And so it suds up really good. It cleaned really good. The kids have berry stains and stuff, but it did its job, and it was really good. And it was inexpensive. So
Ah,
I would say I would got the same results that I when I was using any store bought, and it was just as good.
mhm.
And I felt better about the ingredients. And so.
Okay. Now the hydrosol,
Mhm.
what is that?
So the hydrosol is there's like a little machine kind of thing that does it. And so there's a part where I put the herbs in and
Mhm.
it steams them. So it has water and it steams them. And then there's just a little tube where all the steam goes through. And then from ice, I have a whole bunch of ice and it just cools it, because stainless steel is like, if it's hot, like if the liquid's hot, it's very hot. If the liquid's
Mhm.
cold, it's very cold. So it cools it, and then it just comes out it looks like water, but it's
Mhm.
basically flour water, but it's shelf stable, so it doesn't, you don't have to worry about refrigerating it or anything.
Okay.
And so, and it just has, the scent of the herb. And so a lot of people use it for facial toners, and you
Mhm.
can actually use it in cooking. It's like more like a little specialty item. And so yeah, I was really happy to be able to use it, for that. My mom, you can also use it for like a room spray, like to freshen up
Ah.
pillows or freshen up the room,
Mhm.
especially for like lavender, because it
Mhm.
also has like, little antibacterial kind of properties too. So
Mhm.
sometimes people will use it just to spritz an area.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a really cool item. And you can buy, little bottles of it, spray bottles or whatnot, of hydrosols too. Yes,
Okay.
so it's a distiller is what it's called. So I bought a little
Oh,
one that can go, and I use it on the stove, and it's really
okay.
cool. Yeah,
Okay, I'm
I
writing
actually
it
just
down.
did a video on Thursday about how I did it, the process, and
Okay.
it's really easy, and I'm so glad that I did it. It is a little bit of an investment. It's about like
Mhm.
$150. But
Mhm.
if you make it all the time like I do and you're using it all the time, I use it every day as a toner for my face too. So I use it every
Mm.
day, and my mom is using it, now, to do whatever. And so, if you have the herbs and you feel like I never know what to do with XYZ, then
Mm-hmm.
that's a way that you can use your herbs, and you can use it, for cooking, cleaning, whatever. So,
So you use the mint on, you use it on your floors,
uh-oh.
tile. What
It's kind of breaking up. Are you still
all
there?
right, what kind of floors are you using?
Oh,
Are
yes.
you
We just have
cleaning?
like on our kitchen floors, it's like a little, vinyl or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also like tile would work fine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I've also done
Yeah.
sage as well. That's another good one too. For skin
Ah.
and everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, Denise, we're going to have to pull out some dollars. We need some new toys
Yeah.
that we need to use. But in addition to this, I mean, I know Denise has been taking some classes. I'm going to have to kick up a notch and also take some classes. And I have your book ready to go. And I think I am going to go back. I didn't, because of the computer being down, didn't get to watch last week's videos.
Oh, no
So I'm going to
problem.
have to go back and check those out and see what you got going on. But that just sounds like that would be amazing to be able to
Thank
do
you.
that
Thank you.
and not having to purchase. That's the main thing.
Right. Yeah. And I love just being able to, because that way, like I know my herbs are grown organically. I know I haven't had any
Mhm.
chemicals on it, and so I can feel fine doing all those things. And so you don't have to worry about where the herb came from, or, how
Yeah.
do they do it. And,
Mhm.
sometimes there's even, for the most part, you can find really good hydrosols, but some people may
Mhm.
even be selling things that's not technically hydrosols. So you just don't
Uh-huh.
have to worry about the quality or anything like that. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Isn't
It's
that sweet?
interesting. Thank you.
Denise said, she said she's not so sure. She said, sorry, I knew the phone always rings, never fails.
Oh,
She says it sounds a little bit pricey, but
no, yeah, I
she does
understand.
like the idea of being able to make her own. And
Yeah.
that's for sure. I do too.
Yeah,
And
but because of the price of hydrosols, so like
mhm.
for 3.4 ounces or 3 ounces, you can pay $12. And so for me, I need, if you're using it, all the time, you can have
Mhm.
so much more product. Like I get 16 ounces from a handful of herbs. So you can't beat
Oh.
it at all. So it
Mhm.
definitely within a year
Mhm.
or even before that, because of how I'm using it, it already
Mhm.
makes its money back.
It's paid
So
for itself.
yeah, I've
Mhm.
already made my money back from just doing it twice. So
Mhm.
it definitely is worth it if
Wow.
you use it.
Oh, wow. Well, I wish some of us were closer in proximity
Yeah.
and we could kind of have a day where we would just play and make whatever it is that we would like to make.
Yeah.
But I've kept you an hour and I've tried to be respectful of your time. And because I know you have a lot going on and
Oh,
your babies are sweet enough that they're over at your mom's and she's enjoying that. But I am thankful.
well, thank you. I'm so thankful for you having me on, and I enjoyed this talk and being able to talk and answer questions and all that, and talk about my favorite things, herbs and growing. And so I'm honored that you had me on, and so I'm just so thankful. Thank you, Leona.
Oh, it is my pleasure, my pleasure. And like I said, we are going to make plans for later in the either late summer or into the fall and get together and bring some of these things together so that we can do it and have it right here together and learn a little more along
Yeah.
the way. So, if you don't mind, would you like to also let everybody know your website and I'll try to jot that down. Okay.
Yes. So you can find me on herhealthyhome.co. It's all one word, .co, like .company. And so I just call it the home of all things natural. So I have hydrosols on there, seeds and some herbs. I do have classes on there. I'm only doing classes until the end of May, and then I'm focusing more on my courses because I do classes with those too. But yeah,
Mhm.
I have all different things. And I think people would probably really be interested in. I have a kitchen herbalist course. So it's just the things that you have in your kitchen, teaching you how to use those ingredients. So it's not like, you have to go out and buy a ton of herbs. And so, yeah, you can learn about all the things in your kitchen. You can learn about how to make syrups and, herb broth, as I call
Mhm.
it, and all the things that you need to get started, and telling you a little bit about each of those herbs and making it, friendly and approachable to people. And you can find
Ah,
my books as well, herhealthyhome.co/books. So you can see all three of the books. And I do have a bundle too, so you can get all of them. So you can make your own body products, your own, perfume, and your own herbs and medicines. So, yeah. And
well,
thank you, Ronnie.
this has been amazing,
Thank
amazing. I
you.
have enjoyed this so much, and it's so inspirational to me.
So,
And it means that I've still got some things yet that I need to learn, and things yet that I need to do. And I thank you for sharing today and being a part of the lunch table,
thank you.
because the discussions here are always off the chart. And we never know which direction we're going to go, because
Right.
that's the way it is at the lunch table. So I am so thankful to those of you who have been with us today in the conversation. Now, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to put something in. Cal saying that she put some dried basil somewhere in her kitchen and can't find it. She forgot where she put it. Oh,
That's
that
so
is
funny. That
too.
happened to me. I dried some basil and I totally forgot about it. And so now I have it as decoration on top of where my herbs section. It was some purple basil. It looked real nice, but by that time it was out too long. It doesn't smell, nice as fresh. So yeah, you have to remember, come back in 2 days or so and put it away. So yeah, that does happen. But wherever it is in the kitchen, I'm sure it smells good.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, I Denise is saying that the classes are so much fun,
Oh,
and
thank you.
certainly
I
I know
really
she has
enjoy them.
enjoyed it. And and that's something I'm going to definitely try to get into before it's all over with. And that kitchen herbalist
Of
sounds
course, yeah.
really, really right down my alley. And so I'm going to have to jump in on that as well. Guys, have a blessed and wonderful week. It's going to be a good one. And think of each other every day. Take the time. My throat is going. Let me get something to drink. Excuse me. Take the time to think of someone else as you go throughout the day. And certainly bring your family and your community around your kitchen table. And again, Khadiyah,
Oh,
thank
you're making
you.
me
Thank
emotional.
you.
So
Thank
sweet.
you. So you have a wonderful, blessed day.
Thank you.
Now, I'm
And everybody else as well.